What started off as a journey to make money and provide for my family has evolved into a purpose with a passion. I quickly realized that the real value is not in the cars that I sell or the money I can make. The real assets are my clients. And the ultimate value that I find is in the relationships that I'm able to create. This is Vet Adventures, and together, we all win.
My point of view is people are the most important thing.
You were very smart, man. You were awesome.
Your word is more important than any written piece of paper.
You always want to be a person that can dream and imagine and believe that you can be.
Do what you love to do.
It's a calling, it's not a job. You know how to put the work down.
Today, we sit down with Mark Thiaboult, who is co-founder and chief technical advisor of Crew Chiefs, a worldwide leading provider in pre-purchase inspections across all aircraft makes and models. Mark has been an icon in business aviation for 40 years and will be a great resource for us and our clients at Vet Adventures. In this interview, we sit down with Mark and allow him to educate us on the pre-buy process of an aircraft and how his company, Crew Chiefs, is raising the standard for quality and transparency for its clients when inspecting an aircraft. All right, I'm here today with Mark Thiaboult, who is a co-founder of Crew Chiefs, a global-wide company that handles the inspections for jets that are going into pre-purchase inspections. I met Mark at a broker workshop where they educated us on how to broker jets. My company, Vet Adventures, is interested in getting into the jet and aviation sales and acquisitions business due to what it is that we currently do for our clients. So Mark, I want to thank you for the time today and educating our audience and clients on what it is that you do from start to finish in the pre-buy inspections and who and what Crew Chiefs is. So thank you.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Happy to be here. Well, Crew Chiefs, we started out 3 years ago. We actually launched 2 years ago. We spent a year putting together our software, our processes, our policies, and recruiting, veterans that had. We typically like at least 20 years of experience with various types of aircraft, and that's everything from helicopters, piston aircraft, turboprops, private jets, both ultra long range, and then the airliners. We typically focus on the super mid-size and up, say your Challengers and Gulfstream G4s upward, but we do a lot in between. In North America, the smaller aircraft there are thousands of them.
Right.
So we cover them all. We've got guys, we've got 48 crew chiefs now. We're on 6 continents, and most of our guys have 20 to 30 years of experience. And say you want to buy an airplane, you go find a broker. The broker comes and says, okay, we found an airplane for you. The airplane we need, it's in India, or it's in China, or it's in Australia, or it's in North America. We need someone to go look at the airplane to make sure it is what they say it is. And then we'll take it for a full PPI at an MRO. So oftentimes we can go in, have a look at the airplane, make sure it's all there, the logbooks, records, everything is there, and then the aircraft is either moved to a full PPI, pre-purchase inspection, at either the OEM or one of the big service facilities, MROs, or especially last quarter of the year, we do our own PPIs. It's a level 1, non-invasive pre-purchase inspection. Like I said, we can do the bore scope of the engines. We do a bore scope under the galleys and under the labs, because those are your corrosion-prone areas. And we've got, like I said, we've got guys around the world that have experience on every OEM, Boeing, Airbus, Gulfstream, Bombardier, Textron, you name it.
Your guys have, that you send to those specific aircrafts, have a minimum of 15 to 20 years experience with that OEM manufacturer of that specific plane.
Exactly.
All around the world.
Yep, exactly.
That's incredible.
And with that, they've got a network of MROs. They know the guys. Because we call it glocal. It's global, but it's local.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I understand.
And a lot of things, benefits that are not on the surface to that is, these guys live. Say our guy in LA. He lives in Chino. He works with those MROs all the time, so they know him. He knows his way around. We're not losing time.
Right.
And then he's a subject matter expert on that specific type of aircraft,
Right.
Or OEM.
So when those guys walk in to those MROs or to do the inspection with the local people that they have relationships with, are they walking in as a crew chief employee?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they're branded. They all of our crew chiefs. It's just not a bunch of guys with toolboxes around the world. They go through some pretty extensive crew chiefs training.
Okay.
Chris Buchholz, our CEO up in New York, does our business principles. They've got to go through all of our business principles, our code of conduct, and our ethics, because everything we do is above board. And then they go through what we call our safety culture training.
Smart.
Which is our program, our app, everything, how to use it, how we flow the inspections. All of our inspections are industry standard, what we call MSG 3, Maintenance Steering Group 3. It's a ideology of how to do an inspection on an aircraft. It's a zonal inspection that's done in a clockwise fashion around the aircraft and then interior, into the engines, up into the equipment bay, open the radome. It's very, very
Is
detailed.
that industry standard of how to do an inspection on an aircraft? There's like a blueprint to how to do it, so it must be followed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's a checklist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our inspections are a checklist.
Right.
And the logic in our inspections, if there's an asterisk, you have to answer it. And that answer would require either numbers or alphanumeric or what, date, time, cycles, you name it. And we were the first, quite honestly, in the industry to put together an MSG3 inspection flow onto an app.
This is what makes your company unique, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's not the MSG3, it's the idea that no one else has ever put that ideology into practice
Okay.
in a way that can build reports, build checklists, and give the guy a guidance that he can walk around with his phone,
Yeah.
take a picture of the airplane,
And
put
just
his
walk through
comment
it.
in, and it's there. And then our QA system is monitoring it live. So we can see if he misses anything, we can interact with him and say, hey, go back and look at that wheel again.
Right.
It really is state of the art.
Yeah.
It's state of the art.
That's awesome.
And it's a software customization that we did with an off-the-rack program that was used for automotive, trains, yachts, and we were the first to pull it into aviation.
Nice.
So,
Now, who gets that report? Is it only given to the seller side or the buyer side? And then how is the discrepancies within that report handled amongst the buyer and seller?
good question. Crew chiefs works on both sides of the fence. We can be the buyer's rep or the seller's rep. And whoever contracts us is who gets the report.
Got it.
So if we're there working for a buyer to protect his interests, only he, maybe his broker, will get the report. And our report is something else that is not, it's well above what was in the industry. Honestly, we set the standard where we do a executive summary where that high net worth individual can take this report and read it and understand.
Right, right.
Then we do the technical report, which is usually 100 to 200 pages long, with huge high definition pictures of everything about the airplane. And that's the technical report, which you buy an airplane, somebody's going to manage the airplane. You can hand that report to their director of maintenance or whoever your management company is, or whoever's handling your technical aspects, and he can go through that technical report and say, yeah, we need to push back on this. The seller needs to pay for that.
Right.
This is an airworthiness. Usually that's all covered in either an LOI, an MOU, or the aircraft purchase agreement, where they say the seller will pay for all airworthiness findings, and all the cosmetic stuff is on the buyer.
Right, right, right.
Oftentimes, there's pushback on what is actually airworthy and what is actually just an aesthetic. But
Wouldn't airworthy mean that, you know, the plane's not technically flyable,
Absolutely.
so therefore the seller should be responsible for that? So
Absolutely.
yeah, if I'm the buyer's agent and I get that report and there's some ADs in there, you know, that is stopping the plane from being, you know, flyable once I take delivery of it, I'm expecting you to do that.
Yep.
How often is there a discrepancy that's not already disclosed to the buyer's side once the plane, before it goes into PPI? Because in my industry, some cars do get a pre-purchase inspection, but we disclose everything up front of what we expect to be, you know, found in the inspection.
Yep.
How often does that happen in the aircraft?
every time.
Every time. There's a
Every time.
unexpected.
Because even if you do a pre-PPI, you have some guy go out and look at the airplane for you,
Yeah.
and he makes sure all the big pieces are there. When it goes to the MRO or through a level 1 PPI even, we're looking much deeper.
Right.
A level 2, level 3, they're taking panels off, floorboards up, interiors out, you name it.
You have to get the seller's approval for that, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They don't want you taking apart
Absolutely.
your airplane.
And the pre-buy inspection is usually paid for by the buyer.
of course, yeah.
But I'll tell you, if you've got an airplane in China
Mm-hmm.
and you've got a buyer in the U.S., to ferry that airplane to a facility and do a PPI, you're going to spend tens of thousands
Right.
of dollars just moving the aircraft, fuel, and
that's
what
on the
have
buyer.
you. That's on the buyer.
Yeah.
So you can
You
send
better-
crew chiefs in.
Yeah.
We can take a look at the airplane
Prior to it moving.
prior to it moving and just say, yeah, this is.
We feel
there's
good about
yeah,
it.
we feel good about it, or here's what we found.
Now how to, is there any argument on who does, like what where the plane goes as far as the MROs? Like the seller might not be comfortable. Oh, I don't like those guys over there. No, I don't want you to bring it there. But the buyer is the one paying for it. So
Yeah.
like,
Normally, that can be spelled out in an MOU or an LOI.
what is MOU just for our,
A memorandum of understanding
Okay.
or a letter of intent
right.
to buy. That can all be spelled out then. If it's not, then then there's negotiations that have to take place.
Right.
And it happens often. And part of that would be, say this guy wants to take it to a Standard Aero or a Duncan, or he wants it to go to Gulfstream, and there isn't one of those facilities in the geographical area, right? Then you've got to negotiate whether to take it to a secondary facility or pay to move the airplane. And again, all those negotiations and all that needs to be lined out
Right.
prior to the aircraft purchase agreement.
Okay, and somebody like yourself and your company, if there's a buyer's agent and they need help with like, hey, where should I take this aircraft? You know, I'm not too sure with that geographical location. Where would you recommend you can assist like the brokers and point them in the right direction?
Yep, and actually, again, we go back to the local. We've got crew chiefs all around the world that know these local MROs, can get slots when oftentimes it's very difficult. At the end of the year, last quarter,
It's difficult, right?
very difficult to get in and get a pre-buy done. Most people want to close before the end of the year for the tax reasons.
Right.
And our guys can normally get us slots somewhere.
How big of a window do you need normally to make sure that happens? 2 weeks?
Well,
a
the bigger
month?
the better, right?
The bigger the plane, the better?
No, the bigger the window.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
The more time you have, right, planning
Yeah.
and preparation. I'd say, a normal Q4 would be a week to 10 days.
It's fair.
Yeah, fair. And you've got to do some shopping around. Luckily, we've got those resources in the areas
You're already connected, yeah.
that are already connected.
How long does the inspections normally take?
Depending on the level, scope, and oftentimes when somebody's going to do a PPI, they'll do a forecast of maintenance coming due.
Right.
And say you've got a big inspection due in 3 months, they'll negotiate with the seller hey, look, while we're doing the PPI, let's do that inspection. You pay for the inspection piece, we'll pay for the PPI piece, and then they negotiate findings, right?
Right. Makes sense.
So it can be anywhere from 3 days to 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on the scope and scale of the inspections.
Okay. What you obviously work with a lot of brokers in the industry. These are your
Yes.
clients.
Yep.
What's been your experience with working with a good broker versus a bad broker? Like, what makes a good
yeah.
broker versus somebody that you like doing business with versus somebody that you don't really, it's, this guy makes it difficult for us. Is that even a thing?
It is. And brokers are our number one clientele.
Right.
Right? And then our crew chiefs, we consider our clients as well, because all of them they're contractors, right? So we need to keep them happy as well. But I'd say, and we have, crew chiefs that are preferred, and we have brokers that are preferred. And I would say a preferred broker is one that communicates well. We put all the expectations on the table from the beginning, and we never overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah, that's
If a broker is doing that with his client, it can
Sets
make
you up
it
for
messy
failure.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Sets you up for failure. The other piece is, say you want to buy an airplane, and you go to a broker, and then you go to another broker, and then you go to another broker. Now you've got 4, 5, 6 brokers out looking for the same aircraft for you. You've overinflated the market, artificially overinflated the market.
High demand for this plane.
Yep.
There's multiple buyers out there.
And then we get 6 requests for quotes for PPIs, all for the same
Guy.
same guy.
It's like
right?
that in the car industry. You
Yeah.
can't tell too many people you're looking for a specific car, because then all the brokers flock to that one request, and it just
Exactly.
muddies the waters. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you don't
muddies
wanna
the water.
Yeah, you don't
That's
want to do that.
The perfect analogy.
Yeah. So what is you said you've had your busiest quarter 1 this year so far. What's your temperature on the jet market in a whole?
And it's been all over the world. We would have thought, usually North America is obviously our strongest market. If you take, for example, there are about 14,000 private jets in North America. There are about 1,100 in the whole of Asia Pacific, including Australia, right? So 1,100 to 15,000. So North America is our strongest market. And I would say the optimism in the economy right now, the optimism in the political scheme of things, if you will, it has, and that there's going to be some turbulent times ahead, but somehow it all kind of converged in last quarter of last year into the first quarter, and we have had our busiest first quarter yet.
Nice.
And it's, everything in aviation is an evolution, right?
Okay.
So we're fine-tuning our processes and fine-tuning our training and making ourselves more efficient. Some of it is the use of AI integrated with our app. So we're able to do more in a shorter period of time, which means we can take on more work, more jobs. I'll tell you, guys like yourself, the younger crowd, I'm excited to see. I told you that.
I wanted to get into that.
Okay.
You're kind of like explaining, the younger brokers, they need to like kind of refresh the industry, I guess, and bring something else to the industry. What is that? Like, can you talk
perspective.
New perspective.
A new view. One is the technology and AI, and 2 is the buyers are also now younger.
Right.
So the connection between, say, our crew chiefs or the brokers and the buyers it's not generational, but it helps, right?
I understand. It's a
Right?
lack of the way things are done nowadays,
Yep.
but a lot of people have that old school mentality, and there's
Exactly.
new ways. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, hey, let's figure out a middle ground to work together and be on the same page to bring
Right.
forth the ultimate goal, which is transacting on an aircraft sale. Yeah.
And honestly, I'm one of the older guys, right? I've been doing this for about 45 years, but you either innovate or you evaporate. Mm-hmm. So you've got to keep up with the times, and luckily with some of the youth that we've injected into crew chiefs and our our ideology and our thinking, it's going to propel us
Right.
into the future, which is another reason why I think our Q1 was so strong. And 2025 is going to be a good year.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. What advice could you give to somebody who's looking like a first-time jet buyer, or anybody who's looking to buy or sell a jet? Like, what advice would you tell them? Hey, be on the lookout for this, or this is how you need to make sure that you go about handling that situation, because it is a big transaction. It is, a piece of equipment. So, I mean, what would you tell them?
Couple adages: buyer beware,
Right.
and two, pay me now or pay me later. So, in a proactive or preventive way of thinking, if you're going to buy an airplane, know what you're buying, and don't how do you say? Don't be a cheapy Charlie at the beginning, right? Spend a little bit of money now,
Right.
so that you don't have to spend a lot of money later. As well as, everybody talks about the monetary effect, but there's also the impact in lifestyle, convenience, and safety.
Yeah,
Right?
that probably gets fallen to the wayside in the scope of buying a plane. But you do those
Exactly.
three factors right there are
Yep.
probably, massive. What about to upcoming brokers like myself who aspire to be able to help clients buy and sell aircrafts? Like you said, new generation. What advice would you give to somebody like myself?
Well, I'd say first, the two key words that you just said were help clients.
Right.
Put yourself out there. Do what you can to help them. And the beautiful thing about nowadays, if you don't know something, you can either Google it or you call someone who knows.
Right.
And don't be afraid. Like I said, you can always call us,
Mm-hmm.
right? We actually have a program for new brokers and single brokers. We call them the singletons out there.
Okay.
And it's called Tech Connect. You pay a subscription fee, a monthly subscription fee, and you can call us 24/7. I may answer the phone, and you may have a question on a particular aircraft that I'm not savvy on, but I have somebody who is, right? Through our 48 guys, we've got it all covered. So I call him and say, hey, this broker wants to know this, and we get the answers.
Nice.
We also help on slots. We help with MOUs and LOIs.
Okay.
We have legal counsel that we work with, aviation legal counsel.
So you kind of becoming like a one-stop shop for all of
one-stop
those needs.
shop.
I love
Yep.
that. That's kind of what Vet Adventures is trying to
Yep.
become. Building that network and having the resources to be able to provide the clients, safety, peace of mind in all these transactions, and get them what it is that they need so that they keep coming back.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and look forward. I would say, like I was saying, we've got two of our partners, Wingform and Bluetail, are tech companies.
Mm-hmm.
They digitize aircraft records. They do all type of online aircraft finance platform, aircraft information platform, and all of our APIs are talking to each other, and it's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How long did it take you to create your crew chiefs network of 40 plus people?
45 years.
40. Yeah, no, that's
A lot of
fact.
these guys, believe it or not, worked with or for Chris and I over in Asia or here, or they're industry friends that we've known from Gulfstream, from Bombardier, from Textron.
And they just were like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Makes sense.
A lot of guys are retired from Gulfstream or Bombardier or wherever and say, I got to get out of the house, man. The old lady's driving me crazy. So they become crew chiefs, and they put our shirt on, our hat on,
Yeah.
and they go do the job.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Well, I love what you built with crew chiefs. It's inspiring for me, to what I want to build my company into. I appreciate, your time today and being a resource for me. I look forward to building a further relationship with you as I progress in the industry. Is there anything that you want to leave the audience with as far as anything along the aviation lines of business or?
Yeah, I think just as a closing note, there's an old saying that the road to failure is paved with good intentions. Planning and preparation are a must in aviation. And when it comes to aircraft acquisitions and change of ownership, You really have to cross your T's, dot your I's,
Right.
and send the experts to support the acquisition.
Absolutely. No, I love that. Couldn't agree with you more on that. So, well, I
Good
appreciate
deal.
your time today. It's very
Thank you.
educational.
Yeah, this
and
was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope the audience got some value. And if you need anything from Crew Chiefs, this is Mark Thiaboult. Feel free to reach out to him, and I'm sure he'll help you as much as he has helped me. So, appreciate your time today, Mark.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thanks.